Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Barchi, and you may know me as the voice of the Mustangs or as the sports information director here at Wekiva High School. And it has been a most unusual second half of last year and now getting into the first half of this year. We have some unprecedented times, and those of you who had a chance to watch the school board meeting a couple weeks ago got you were the first to know about some plans that we have for our fall sports programs to allow them to move forward and to get our athletes the activity and the exposure that they so very much deserve, while still at the same time maintaining a safe environment and one that we are feel comfortable with, and trying to meet the best of all worlds. So we have all of our coaches here with us tonight, ready to talk about that. We have all of our fall sports coaches, in addition to Dr. Drayton and Coach Biaggi. We are all here. And before we go any further, I want to invite Dr. Drayton to join us on the screen to welcome everyone and talk about our vision for this school year and the fall season.
Good evening. Well, I first would like to say that I am so proud to be the principal of Wekiva High School. I am just ecstatic to see where our athletics can go as well as our academics as a school. I will tell you, I am proud of our students, our faculty, our staff for working so hard and diligently during this difficult time. I know that this is a very challenging time and we are all working hard and doing the best that we can. The one thing that Wekiva has really been focusing on is making sure that we're maintaining a safe environment for our students. And therefore, even as we're talking in these meetings right now with the fall sports, we're going to be talking, each team will be talking about how we are going to proceed with the fall sports and include the safety guidelines within it. But just know that I will be speaking with the coaches so that we can try to be as innovating and creative as possible, because we definitely want our students to participate. We definitely want our students to have a great year, to enjoy their school year and their time while at Wekiva playing sports. So just know that I am going to do everything within my power that I can do to ensure we can bring that school spirit out, with our students. And as you guys know, if you ever have any questions or concerns, please feel free to email me, to call the school, and I will address any concerns as quickly as possible. So my goal is to be here for you and to be able to support all of our students. So that's all I have to say tonight. And I would like to say once again, welcome. And I also thank you in advance for you guys attending this meeting to really find out what's going on with our fall sports.
All right, thank you, Dr. Drayton. We appreciate you joining us tonight. Our third principal here at Wekiva High School. We're really excited to have you back, and we are looking forward to working together to make our athletic programs great, whether we are in the most typical of times or the most atypical of times. So before I turn it over to each of our coaches to go through their individual programs and tell you what they're excited about this season, we want to take a few minutes to go over a few high-level items that, again, you may have already heard if you have been following our social media feeds or you watched the OCPS board meeting from a couple of weeks ago. But we want to make sure that everyone has this information, and particularly as it pertains to Wekiva. Also, I want to point out that while our coaches are speaking later on in the program, I will be monitoring the live chat on YouTube. So if you have something in particular that you want to make sure we cover, please put it in the live chat. And also, if you have friends and family, tell them to join in. You can pull this up on your favorite computer, smart TV, or mobile device. It's going to be available for on-demand replay. If you have any of your other classmates or family members who weren't able to join us live, they'll be able to join us for on-demand replay as well. So again, before we go any further, we want to cover a little bit of information that applies to all of our sports. And we want to start with athletic clearances. Some big changes to the way that athletic clearances are done this year. You may also hear this process referred to as the physical process, but it's really about more than just the physical. There's a number of forms that have to be completed each year, and there were some big changes to those. So, first of all, clearances have to be completed and approved before participating in any tryouts, practices, or competitions. So, you cannot even, I mean, you can talk to the coach and you can express your interest, but before you actually do anything with a ball or participate in any actual physical activity associated with the sport, you have to have that athletic clearance completed for liability reasons and to make sure that you meet the GPA requirements, etc. Now, there is a big change this year to the way we're doing athletic clearances. Most of the paperwork itself is really the same as it's always been, but the way you submit it is different. It's moved online this year. So if you go to wekivamustangs.com and go to the Forms and Docs menu, you'll see the instructions, and we've laid out all of the different things that need to be done. It's going to direct you to athleticclearance.fhsaahome.org, which is where you can register an account and go through the process of uploading that information. Out of all of the forms, we think that this is going to make it easier. It involves less contact. You don't need to chase down Coach Hippolyte and find her. It ultimately is going to make things a lot smoother and get these clearances done faster, but it is just going to feel a little bit different than it has. A COVID-19 waiver has been added to the usual FHSAA and OCPS participation forms, and that has to be signed prior to participation just to make sure that everyone understands the risks involved and what steps that we are taking to mitigate them. Out of all of those forms, the only one that you really have to do the old fashioned way by printing it out, signing it, getting your medical professional to sign it, and then scanning it back into the computer using either a scanner or taking a picture of it with your phone, only the EL2 physical form needs that. All of the other forms, you'll have an opportunity to download them if you want to look at the traditional PDF version, but you don't need to print that and scan it back in. You'll have an opportunity in the last step of the process to provide the parent signature or guardian signature and the student signature electronically. You do not need to actually do that with ink other than that EL2 physical form. And then we have additional COVID-19 online training that all of our participants in athletics is on the same page when it comes to everything that we can do to keep our athletes and our staff members safe. So again, that athletic clearance process, the process itself is really the same purpose as it always was. It's just that the mechanics of it are going to feel a little different this year. And we know many of you have already completed that. If you do have any questions that are not answered by our instructions, we also have the contact information on the website that you can email our head athletic trainer, juliet.hippolyte@ocps.net, and she can get you squared away. Next, we want to talk about schedules. So schedules are a tricky thing to do this year because we have some unusual constraints, particularly for the fall season. So practices and tryouts will start August 31st, and actually just started today, and then competitions will start in 2 weeks, September 14th. So that's a mandatory 2-week conditioning period that both the county and the state support, that you don't want to jump into competitions with less than that because you want to make sure that your athletes are prepared to compete at the high school level. Now, just because we say September 14th is the start does not mean that every sport will necessarily have its first competition on that date, but that is the first date that they can be scheduled. The end of the season and the postseason dates remain unchanged. So what this means is some of the seasons are going to feel unusually short, but we'll talk about that and how we can mitigate that in a minute. Schools have the ability to opt out of the FHSAA State Series, also known as the playoffs, until September 18th, but OCPS currently intends to compete. We do not have any intent to opt out at this point, and unless we get new information or data that would really change the arithmetic on that, we are planning on keeping Wekiva in contention for state titles in all of the sports this year. We'll let you know if anything about that should change. Now, Central Florida schools will be the only schools that we'll be competing against in the fall season, at least until we get to the playoffs. Orange County has made sort of cooperative agreements with other neighboring counties, and even a couple that are 2 counties away, that we have satisfied that each other's requirements and safety protocols and measures are up to the same standard as ours. And so those are the schools that we will be competing against. So this probably won't make a huge difference on like your volleyball and your football schedules, which typically would only play programs in that radius anyway. But for some of our other programs like cross country that often goes out of county for meets, that has a more significant impact on the scheduling process. And so you may see that that's why some of our schedules we're still working on because of the facility issues and trying to find the right set of opponents that are within that set of schools that Orange County has determined are reciprocating our safety protocols. Some of the fall seasons may be much shorter than usual. When we get to volleyball later in the presentation, you're going to find that they only have a regular season that's a little over 4 weeks long before they get into the playoffs. But teams who are eliminated from the playoffs are permitted to schedule more regular season games through the date of the state championship for that sport, up to the normal limit that you would have for the year. So for football, that would be 10 games. For volleyball, that would be 25 matches. So if the schedules seem a little thin and don't have a lot of games on them at first, it may be just because we're not working with a lot of runway. But you know that you're either going to get the postseason if the team is able to advance in the playoffs, or if they aren't able to advance in the playoffs, we will be able to get more competitions in as we're able to adapt. So it's going to require a lot of flexibility and a lot of patience. You've probably heard those keywords a lot this year, and that's going to continue. Also, the minimum number of competitions required to be eligible for state series has been waived. So that takes a little bit of the pressure off of us that we don't have to worry if we get a storm, if we're not able to complete a game, if we aren't able to even schedule enough games in the first place that would normally meet those criteria, then it's okay. We will remain eligible for state series even if we don't meet the normal contest minimums. So that's where we're thinking about with schedules right now. So far, we have posted the boys golf schedule, the football schedule, and the volleyball schedule. We are still working on bowling, cross country, and swimming. Those are getting close. But again, because of the off-campus facility issues and trying to find times that we can get into those facilities to compete, that's why those are taking a little bit longer, but we are hoping to release those very, very soon. Next, we want to talk about game day procedures. So we're going to try to make this feel as normal as we can make it feel, but obviously there are going to have to be some adaptations made this year. So some policies and procedures that don't materially impact the game will be adapted according to NFHS and FHSAA guidance to maximize safety. So for example, larger sideline boxes and benches for players who are not currently in the game. No pregame and postgame handshakes. We will have to come up with a creative way to acknowledge sportsmanship without actually high-fiving individual members of the other team. For volleyball, for example, we won't be switching sides between sets. Whatever bench you start on, you're going to stay on that bench the whole game. And there will be limited attendance at the pregame coaches and captains meeting. That it's pretty much going to be the official one coach and one player from each team spaced apart, and no one else is going to be able to attend that. And those are just a few examples. You can actually see even more examples if you go on wekivamustangs.com. We've linked to the FHSAA protocol page that gives you some more examples of ways that we'll be adapting the game in a way that doesn't really change the game, but that makes it safer. Band, sideline cheerleading, dance, and JROTC will not be participating in our fall sports until further notice. We hope that as we continue to move through the school year, that the numbers continue to improve, the circumstances continue to improve, and we're able to find ways to interject these organizations into our sports programs as they always have been. In the meantime, we are going to look for creative ways to involve them virtually. You may see them pop up on live streams. You may hear them in the arena and the stadium audio from pre-recorded opportunities. We're going to think of everything we can to keep these groups involved because we absolutely do value their participation. But out of an abundance of caution, at least to start out, we are not going to have them physically in attendance at any of our sporting events. And then finally, concessions, when available, are going to be limited to bottled drinks because that is obviously the safest way to go when it comes to food handling, and we think our fans will certainly understand that. So then the last thing that I want to talk about, and I know especially for those of you who are joining our live stream tonight as fans and community members, more so than as participants, are very much interested in knowing, so how are we going to be able to support our Mustangs this year? Can we come? If we can't come, how can we watch? So participating teams will be permitted 2 tickets per athlete for guest attendance. And we've done the math on that, and that works out to limiting our facilities to about 25% of their normal capacity. So these tickets will be administered through the athletes. So the athletes will be able to advise their coaches of who they are going to bring as spectators to sit in the stands. These tickets are intended for adult family members and caretakers of our athletes, and it will be managed as a guest list. So the individual that the athlete has named to his or her coach will need to be the person who presents the ticket. And that will help us to manage our crowd sizes, at least at first. In addition to that, faculty from the hosting school may attend without guests. So they can't bring anyone with them, but they can attend themselves. And these attendees will not count against the ticket limit, and they still fit into that 25% figure. Admission will be free for all regular season fall sporting events. We are not going to try to generate revenue off of this. As we heard in the school board meeting, there's some CARES funding available through the relief package that Congress passed that we're going to be able to keep our athletic programs afloat this year in other ways. So for those who are getting physical face-to-face admission, we're not going to be charging for those tickets. Many of our regular season home games for team sports will be live streamed on our YouTube channel, which is where you're watching right now. So, congratulations, you've already found it. Please make sure you mash that subscribe button while you're here. You may view these for free with ads. Or if you pay the 10 or 11 bucks a month that it costs to subscribe to YouTube Premium so that you don't see ads, that's fine too. And so you don't have to pay or subscribe to anything to get that. Those of you who have been following Wekiva Athletics for a couple of seasons know that we have already been doing this. So Wekiva is actually uniquely prepared because we've been doing this successfully for a couple of seasons now. We're going to get as many of those online as we can. Right now we have 5 home volleyball games and 4 home football games on the schedule. We're going to try to get to all 9 of those and get them broadcast in that way. And then we actually have something new and exciting this year that the NFHS network has graciously offered to donate Pixelot cameras to all of our Orange County public schools, including Wekiva. We actually had it installed in the football press box today. We're going to have one installed in the gym tomorrow. And these devices will automatically live stream every single event that happens in that facility. So you may know from previous seasons that sometimes we can't live stream literally every game because we just don't have enough people. If soccer and basketball are playing at the same time, or if lacrosse and boys volleyball are playing at the same time, or we just couldn't get a broadcast crew together that night, that we can't literally do all of the games. Well, now we can. The Pixelot camera is fully automated. It comes on all by itself. It automatically follows the action using technology to identify where the play is happening. It zooms in as it needs to. And that happens without any intervention, even if we do nothing. So those broadcasts may not have quite the polish that our regular broadcasts do, but they will be available. And that includes the postseason as well. So one of the things you may know is that we can only live stream regular season games for free. For the postseason games, because we don't own the rights to those, the FHSAA does, we have to go through the NFHS network. So that will include the postseason games as well. And that's going to be from now on, pandemic or not. Now, the catch on that is that a subscription is required to view the NFHS network feed, but a significant portion of that subscription fee comes back to us at Wekiva. So know that you are supporting Wekiva Athletics if you do grab that subscription for 11 bucks a month, or you can prepay the whole year at $70 and get yourself a little bit of a discount. So that's all I have to say. I think you all have heard about enough from me. So I want to bring our coaches in. I want to look at the questions that have come in so far and answer some of them that are not sport specific. So we had a question: will spectators be allowed in the stands for football? And the answer to that is yes. asterisk. So yes, we will have spectators in the stands, but it will be tightly controlled through that ticketing process that goes through the athletes. And again, those are intended for adult family members of those athletes that will be able to put them onto a guest list. And then we will have that live stream available. And hopefully we'll be able to loosen those guidelines as the year goes on, but that's how we're going to start. We also had a question, is there track? We sure hope so. That's a spring sport, so it'll be a while before we get a final decision on that. But if the numbers and the information we have continue to be positive, then we are absolutely hopeful that there will be a track season. In the meantime, though, if you can't get enough running, we do have cross country, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. I also heard a question about cheerleading. Competition cheerleading is a winter sport. So as of right now, we are still open to the hope and the possibility that our winter sports start on the same original schedule that they were supposed to have. I don't have those dates in front of me, but they're on FHSAA.com. We are waiting for an update from the FHSAA and OCPS about our winter sports. So when we say that there isn't going to be cheerleading at sporting events, we are specifically talking about sideline cheerleading for the moment. We do absolutely intend to have the full competition cheerleading season. And hopefully, like I said, later on in the year, be able to involve our sideline cheerleaders in our other sports as well. Boys basketball was another question that was asked. We don't have I can't make you a promise on that yet. All I can say is that we have not excluded the possibility that it will start on time on its, because that would be a winter sport that would normally start in November. And if everything looks good and we get the green light from the FHSAA and from Orange County, then it is our hope that it will start in November as it is supposed to. I have a question. Are the 2 tickets per athlete per guest for away games as well? Yes, assuming it's Orange County. So as long as it is an Orange County opponent, then yes, the same rules will apply, and that 2 tickets per athlete applies to both the host school's athlete and the visiting school's athletes. We will get that information for you when it comes to out-of-county opponents, away games. I know that we have a couple of games scheduled against out-of-county opponents. I believe many of them are developing similar policies to Orange County, but we'll make sure our athletes are aware of that so they can cascade that information. So those are all the questions that I see at the moment, and keep posting them, and I will keep reading them as our coaches talk. But before I continue to yammer on any further, I am going to invite our first coach, and we'll go alphabetically by sport name, and that means we are starting with B for bowling. So I'm going to ask our head coach, Lennon Vasquez, to talk to us about their upcoming tryouts and their ideas and hopes for the upcoming season. Coach Vasquez.
Hey, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Barchi and Dr. Drayton for hosting this meeting. Bowling boys and girls, practice is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Our first practice is tomorrow at the Bolero in Apopka. You do need a physical, like Mr. Barchi went through the details on that. There is no experience needed. So definitely encourage any beginners to come out. We are going to be following OCPS COVID guidelines. Again, I'm Coach Vasquez. Appreciate you guys' time, and you can email me with any questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Coach Vasquez, and we know that our bowlers are looking forward to getting involved with that again. Before we move on, I will address another question that just came in through the live stream, which is transportation for athletes still the same on a bus? So the answer to that for away competitions is yes, buses will still be available. We are going to encourage this year more of our students, if they are able to secure their own transportation through their parents or through their own vehicle, if they have a vehicle available and are of age to drive. We are going to encourage more of our students to take advantage of that opportunity, as it is the safest way to travel. However, for those who need bus transportation from the school, yes, that will continue to be available for our away competitions. Caleb, you asked, what time do tryouts start again? Coach Vasquez, you said that is tomorrow at Bolero Apopka at, is it 3 you said?
Yes, 3 o'clock. And if they're not able to make it tomorrow, just reach out to me. Let me know you're interested so I can keep you updated. on, any changes in the practice time, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 3 to 4:30 is going to be our typical practice times. But again, if you're not able to get there tomorrow or the next day, reach out to me via email so I can keep you updated.
Thanks, Coach. And yes, absolutely. I should also use that opportunity to point out that all of our coaches' contact information is posted on WekivaMustangs.com. Just go to the specific sport page and tab over to the staff tab on the right-hand side, and you'll be able to click through to link to any of our coaches' email addresses. So up next, I want to invite Coach Carroll. Frederick Carroll, or Mark Carroll, as he goes by, is our cross-country head coach, as well as you'll see him involved in a lot of sports on campus, but he is the maestro in charge of our cross-country program. So, Coach, talk to us about cross-country season.
Well, practice is start tomorrow. Well, it'll be Monday through Thursday from 3 to 4:30. I encourage everybody to come out and run, females, males. Also, it carries over into track because I'm the head boys track coach. So I encourage anybody to run to come out and do cross country so they can be in shape for track season. Again, you want to get in contact with me, you email me. And as far as scheduling, I had to give it to AD so we find out which meets that we're able to run in. And that's give you the schedule, and we'll put the schedule out for everybody to know what days we'll be running. Mostly it'll be Saturdays.
All right, thank you, Coach Carroll. And yes, absolutely, we'll get that schedule posted so that you don't have to memorize it. As soon as we get it nailed down, we are working on that. And to Coach Carroll's point, we hope everybody will come out and go ahead and get some workouts in. In the meantime, we had a question come in a minute ago. Will the two-guest rule apply to bowling matches? My understanding of that is yes, that the two-guest rule is applying to all of our sporting events. Bowling, I believe, also has the additional stipulation, at least at first, that there will be a limit of 10 boys and 10 girls per team per match participating. Now, if we have more than that that are qualified and interested, then we'll be able to do that through a rotation. So that's because that is an indoor sport. So that's been a conversation that Orange County has had with the handful of bowling facilities that host our bowling events throughout the year. So next, let's see, I believe our next sport is the sport of football. I know a lot of people will have questions and interest in hearing about that, so I want to invite Coach Bettison. Rich Bettison is now, a few years into coaching with us here at Wekiva, and has taken our team into the playoffs multiple times, and Wekiva is now a force to be reckoned with, which you will see if you look at the schedule that we posted recently, and they are looking forward to another banner season, even though things may look a little bit different this year. So, Coach Bettison, take it away.
All right, thanks, Mark. I appreciate you having this event for us so we can showcase our programs. Yes, football, a lot of changes this year with everything going on right now. We started practice today. We're going 3:30 to 5:30 right now. It is encouraged, even though if you're a JV or freshman player, to come find me. I'm in the weight room all day. After school, I'll be out in Building 9 in the outdoor locker room or coach's room. As of now, JV and freshmen are postponed until January. But I would still like to get my face, a face to a name. And if you're not in school, if you're at home, I would encourage you to email me, reach out, all right? Because we had everyone show up today, and, we'd just like to see the younger kids. We want to keep you guys involved, be able to check your grades. And me and Bobby are working through some things on what we can and can't do right now. But please reach out, even if you're a younger kid. If you're an older kid, if you're new to Wekiva, or for some reason you haven't been out with us, please reach out and we'll see, what we could do. But for everybody else, we started today 3:30 to 5:30. We were really young last year. We returned 17 starters, and the schedule was a little different this year with our bye week and a couple teams dropping us later in the season. We have a very challenging schedule. I mean, we have 5 of the top 10 teams of the state on our schedule. We play at home against Edgewater. We're at Dr. Phillips. We're at Jones. We're at Lakeland, who's a powerhouse, and then we're at home against Apopka. So it'll be really challenging out of our 8 games to play 5 top opponents. But, you know, we talked to our seniors, and they were up for the challenge, and it will give those guys a lot of exposure to college coaches, and it should get their names out there if they have a really good year. And then last but not least, parents, all the kids should be on our Remind app. We set multiple reminders daily through the Remind app, whether it's a cancellation or it's a reminder about our fundraiser, or we got to cancel practice or just push it back. So if your son is not on the Remind app, would you please have them sign up? You could email me and I could send you the link. You guys could also sign up so you get the same alerts that they're getting. So thank you, Mark.
All right, thank you, Coach Bettison. I know that a lot of our Mustangs are very much looking forward to football season. High expectations, as always, for that program. And the moment that I posted it on Twitter, the immediate reaction was eyes bugging out of heads, like, "Oh my gosh, that's a tough schedule." And so we are expecting our team to be challenged and to be ready for the postseason. We know the postseason is going to look strange this year. All of that time we spent learning the RPI formula and how that impacts bracket seeding and all that bracketology stuff now has gone out the window, and we'll likely end up in a blind draw situation when we get into playoffs. But with a regular season like we've got, we know that we'll be ready because we will be tested over and over and over again. And so I also wanted to mention again our 4 home games. We will give them the same treatment that we have been giving our football games for the last few years, with that live streaming on both YouTube and the NFHS network. We also, Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief will be joining me as he always does. We're going to be on the road with the football team as well, bringing you sideline updates, posting live scores and stats, and doing live updates on Twitter. We want to make it as easy as possible for you to follow the Mustangs in a number of different ways. Especially, we know that even though it's been a nice option to have for the last few years, it's going to be more important than ever this year. So without further ado, let's move on to our next sport. Actually, before I do that, let me address a couple of questions that just came in. We're going to be talking about water polo and swimming shortly, so I'll hold that question for then. Eric, as far as getting in touch with our coaches, the contact information is published on WekivaMustangs.com. And yes, most of our fall sports coaches are definitely going to be willing to work with you if you were not able to get your athletic clearance done and you're working on getting it done as fast as you can, and so you missed the first couple of practices. We'll get you caught up. So that's not going to be a deal breaker, and we'll make sure that we can work with you on that, but we do have to follow the protocol. Email address is posted on WekivaMustangs.com. In the specific case of cross country, it is frederick.carroll@ocps.net, fredrick.carroll@ocps.net, and all the other coaches are posted on WekivaMustangs.com as well. So now let's move on to our next sport. We have Eric McCall, the head coach of Wekiva Golf, ready to hit the links once again this season. Coach McCall.
Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Hopefully you guys can hear me. We're really looking forward to, well, I guess continue the thanks, Mark. Thanks, Dr. Drayton. Thanks for all the coaches for taking that time out this evening and sharing some vital information for the community. Rich, really looking forward to seeing the boys play this year. I'm looking forward to a great season, watching you guys run it up and down the field. As far as golf is concerned, it's an exciting time for me as a coach. The PGA was one of the really first professional sports to get this whole COVID thing kind of under wraps, not allowing spectators at the events, and holding the players to some hygiene standards and whatnot. Fortunately for us, spectators aren't really an issue in our sport. If you are want to come out and watch, you can you're more than free to walk along beside the golfers, maintaining that distance, of course, or you can get a golf cart for a small fee from the golf club. Now, with the golf cart, they're only allowing one person for golf cart, so there is the ability to social distance there as well. I've got two seniors this year and a 10th grader, sophomore on the team. Adam Strecker went to the next level after district. He went to the regional tournament last year. I'm really hoping that both that he gets back again, and the possibility is for my other senior, Jacob Park, to go as well. We do practice from 3 o'clock to 5:30 or so, depending, how long we take playing holes and practicing. If you don't have any experience, golf is a great sport, not just for now, but for a lifetime. You can play golf up until you're very, very old in age. So it's a good opportunity. If you don't have clubs, we can work on that. I've got some old sets that people have donated over the years and whatnot to the school. They are antiquated. They are, a little on the difficult side to play with. But if you're interested in playing the game and picking it up, I've got all the equipment, and we might even, find some place to get you some halfway decent used stuff. I've got pretty much a full schedule, Mark. It's going to be, didn't change the district times for us at all. They kept it the same. It's going to be at Ocala Golf Club again this year. That'll be the 15th, I believe, of October, or the second week in October. I think we have about 12 scheduled matches this year in this very, very short time. So there'll be a lot of golf being played here in the next month and a half, and I look forward to getting started. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to email me through the links that is prescribed there in the Wekiva website. Thanks again, Mark, for putting this on. This was a great opportunity to showcase some things. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach McCall. And you're absolutely right. We have 12 events on the schedule this year. Many of them are actually at Wekiva Golf Club. We are fortunate that a lot of schools are willing to come up and play us here locally, which is our home course where we do our practicing. So that's always nice and makes it easy to travel. I think out of the 12 matches that we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them are at Wekiva Golf Club. So that's nice. And also, yes, to reinforce what you said, October 13th at 9 a.m., that district tournament at Ocala for boys golf. So we're looking forward to that. We will then get ready to talk about swimming here. I saw someone asked a question, will parents be allowed to watch water polo and swim meets? So we'll specifically talk about swimming right now. Water polo will be a spring sport, and we hope by then we're in better shape and we're able to loosen up some of these restrictions a little bit. But specifically talking about swimming, Orange County has, again, yes, that same 2 tickets per athlete rule will apply. And in addition to that, there is a 50-person limit on the pool deck at any given time in order to keep, there's really not a lot of concern from our medical professionals with the safety of the actual swimming. It's more about the contact that people have in the area around the pool where most of the attention has been focused. And so that's how we're controlling that. So without further ado, I want to invite our swimming and water polo coach, Markeith Williams, to talk about what's getting us excited for this season of Wekiva swimming. Coach Williams.
Well, thank you for having us. This is my second year coaching swimming, but 10-year coaching water polo. And person asked about water polo, swimming and water polo. It goes hand in hand with me. Please email me if you're interested in swimming. I'd love to have you. We definitely want to keep up the excitement. And so I coach the swimming girls and boys team. Last year we got rid of probably about three quarters of the team in terms of graduating them. So we had a young team, but the personal best that we put out with each individual and some of the relays and individual swim meets that we had was just phenomenal. We had Blake Steger that cut 37 seconds off of his time, and he was the second person, I think, in school history to go to regionals. Might want to fact check me on that, but I'm almost positive. And we're looking forward to him and some of the other young players coming out, young swimmers coming out and doing some exciting things. We got started today with our first practice, and we're going to practice for 2 weeks from 3 to 5 at Lake Brantley Pool. If you're someone that think that you want to come out, please get in touch with us. I have no problem if you don't have that much swimming skills. It doesn't really matter. I've seen folks that couldn't even go across the pool, and at the mid-season they were in our relays. So we're very excited about that. So Lake Brantley High School, 3 to 5 after school every day. The two go together. We have 8 individual swim strokes, and we have 3 medleys, relays that you can get in. We have the backstroke, the breaststroke, the fly, and the freestyle. And we will teach you all the strokes if you're not familiar with them. I just want you to come out and let me do my thing in terms of having you grow and be a part of this team. So please get in touch with me. I want you to be a part of the swim family and then transition you right over to water polo.
Thank you, Coach Williams. And I know that many of our coaches would echo what you just said, that, if practices started today and you didn't make it out because you didn't know or you didn't have your athletic clearance ready, that's okay. Come out to the next one. Get that athletic clearance taken care of as fast as you can. And I know with many of our sports, particularly our individual sports like swimming and golf and bowling and cross country, that don't be intimidated by the fact that you're new at this. If you're a freshman and you didn't play in middle school, or even if you're not a freshman and you just haven't thought about it until now in high school, that all experience levels are welcome. We'll find a way for you to participate.
Yes.
And make this a great experience for you. And again, please refer to that contact information on our website to get in touch with our coaches. I know, Coach Williams, you've been having a challenge with your OCPS email. I think we've gotten that squared away now. But if you do email Coach Williams and it bounces back at you, then just email me or Coach Biaggi, and we'll make sure it gets to him, because we think we've got that squared away now with that little technical glitch. So let me turn back to our live chat questions. And a couple of questions have come in about participating if you are an online student. So if you're like a Launchette at Home student. And the answer to that is yes, you absolutely can participate in athletics at Wekiva, regardless of whether you are a face-to-face student or a Launchette at Home student, or even if you are in Orange County Virtual School, but you've done the necessary paperwork to verify your attendance at Wekiva, that yes, you can participate in athletics at Wekiva. As a matter of fact, all of our football players are doing either a Launchette at Home or Launchette from campus. And so that is totally fine. So if you are already on campus, then you can simply stay after school for those events that are on campus. Obviously, if they're off campus, then you'll need to secure transportation to get to those practices. And if you are a Launchette at Home student, then yes, it is absolutely permitted for you to come on campus for the purpose of participating in tryouts and practices and competitions, even if you are not on campus during the school day to attend classes. We also then, we had a question about when volleyball starts. Well, I think the best way to answer that is to put Coach Hollage on. Our volleyball coach is Mr. Craig Hollage, and I will invite him to take over now and talk about our upcoming fall volleyball season. Coach Hollage.
Can you hear me, Mark?
Yes, I can.
Thanks for having this. We've had a lot of questions that I've been getting from players already. Tryouts actually started today. They're scheduled to go Monday through Wednesday, but we understand that there's a lot of players that couldn't make it for the first couple of days because they didn't know the schedule. So we're going to be extending it through Friday. We do go 3 until 6 because we do have to be out of the gym by 6 o'clock. Another question that people were asking was because they heard the season was only going to be about 4 weeks. Thanks to our athletic director, our schedule is full. Most of the weeks we're playing at least 4 matches in every single week. I believe we have 1 or 2 tournaments that we're playing in. So we've got a full schedule for the season coming up. I will say that if you or your kids are on the fence I'd say have them come out. Over the last 2 years, we have graduated 12 players. And when there's only 10 to 12 players on a team, that's a lot of people. So we have a lot of room. It's going to be a growing year for sure. But we're excited about what's happening here. It's a big family, and we love to have all the people come out so we can see what we can do.
All right. Well, thank you, Coach Hollage. And yeah, I have seen that schedule. And that schedule is posted on WekivaMustangs.com. We may even yet be adding a few more things to it. And then, like I said, you have that postseason window where one way or the other we'll either be playing playoff games, or if we're not, then we'll have an opportunity to see if we can get more chances to extend the season and get some good competition opportunities in for these young ladies. And also, as Coach Hollage said, and echoes what many of our coaches have said, if you miss the first day of tryouts because either you didn't know or you didn't have your athletic clearance done, get it done this week. Come out and see what it's all about, and we want to get as many people involved as we can, while of course maintaining that level of safety. So that then takes us to the conclusion of all of our sports. We've now heard from all 6 of our head coaches in our fall programs. If you do have any other questions, go ahead and get them into that live chat right now. I know YouTube is typically on about a 20 or 30-second delay from real time, so I want to make sure I see them before we close out. But while we wait for any further questions, I want to give our athletic director, Coach Bobby Biaggi, a chance to address everybody and give his welcome and thoughts on what is sure to be a most unusual season, but one that we think is set up for success. Coach Biaggi.
Good evening. Hopefully you guys are getting something out of this production that Mark's putting on here. We want to thank him. Obviously, he's an integral part of our athletic program. I tell him on a daily basis. Hopefully the rest of our coaches will as well. He does a lot of special things for us, and this is definitely one. First of all, I want to say the 2 words that you're going to hear the most throughout the course of our athletic seasons is things are fluid and safety. So I just want to make sure you guys understand that we are doing everything in our power to make sure that your children that you're entrusting us to are going to be safe, and our facilities are going to be clean and sanitized so that you don't really have to worry about that. Of course, with the COVID, we don't know everything about it, so we're doing everything we can to minimize the chances that you're going to get COVID on playing athletics for our programs. The other thing is, as Mark alluded to, I guess the biggest question that I've heard over and over tonight is in regards to attendance at events. We're fortunate enough to have Mark. Obviously, he can't be at every venue for every single game, but we're fortunate enough to have him at the majority of our games to broadcast, to allow our parents and our fellow students or our players, fellow students, peers, to be able to watch them participate. This year's different animal, and there are quite a few stipulations. People have been asking about the bowling and the swimming more than anything. So with bowling, yes, we have things in place in regards to spectators, but we're also going to be taking heed from, or we're going to be listening to and putting the bowling alleys restrictions into effect as well. So even though we might say, yes, we can have some spectators there, the bowling alley obviously will trump us if they have policies in place that don't allow for spectators. So we'll try to get all that information to you as quickly as we can. And obviously we only use Bolero. So if I can get all the information from the other athletic directors on the facilities they're at, whenever we go to bowl against them, then I'll be sure to get that information to Mark, and he can get it disseminated via Facebook or Twitter or our website. So we're going to try to keep you guys as informed as we possibly can. And as I said, it's fluid. So bear with us, guys. We're trying our best to make it a enjoyable experience for our student athletes and the parents to watch their students or their children. But there's certain parameters that we have to abide by in order to give you guys a good product. As far as swimming, Mark already alluded to there's 50 people on the deck. So once again, we're going to be using whatever facility we're at's protocols in regards to spectators. So I won't say that you're going to definitely be able to be there, but once again, we will definitely get that information out before the meets or each particular meet, so that you're well aware of what you can and can't do in regards to swimming and bowling. Hopefully, since Coach McCall says you guys can get in a cart, hopefully you guys will take advantage of that and come out and watch some of our stellar golfers. I don't know how many fans they generally get for matches, but I'm sure if you show up riding around on your golf cart, they're going to love it. Especially you give them a couple cat calls, especially when they're putting, right, Coach? Putting and start screaming? No, okay, never mind. But I'm sure the kids would love it if you come out and are able to watch them play some golf. In regards to swimming and diving, we're at Lake Brantley, as Coach Markeith Williams alluded to. He runs a fantastic program. He's a great addition to our program. He came on last year, but he had been a part of our program before that, especially with water polo. Now he's taking full reins of all of our aquatics. I believe if you give him the opportunity to work with your child, he will do fantastic things with them in regards to their swimming abilities, as well as he will develop them as a person. That goes across the board for all of our coaches, don't get me wrong. Coach Lennon Vasquez, if you give him an opportunity and your child wants to come out for bowling, same thing, quality guy, and does what's best for the student athlete and teaches them the right things when they're out there participating for Wekiva as well as for himself with bowling. I know he wants people. He didn't say it as much as he probably wanted to, but
no, I appreciate, Bobby, if I can say one thing, you know, with you know, anybody who's interested, we had just an example. We have a senior who started as a freshman last year. He bowled a 299, 300's a perfect game, and he just started as a freshman, Aaron Childers. So we definitely encourage anybody who's, you know, looking to get better and get better very quickly. Bowling something that you should definitely consider. Thanks, Bobby.
Well, you're welcome, Coach. You do a great job. I'm looking forward to watching the bowling team. Cross country, Coach Carroll. Coach Carroll puts his heart and soul into track and cross country. We'd like to increase our numbers. So if any of you guys are out there and need to get in shape or enjoy running, then we encourage you to come out and work with Coach Carroll as well. Fantastic coach, even better person. So, I'm sure if you entrust your child to Coach Carroll, they are in good hands. They are in good hands. We go down the line here. Football, everybody knows football. We've had success. I've only been at the school for 3 years, and I know for a fact that Coach Bedison has done a wonderful job with our student athletes, developing them as people as well as football players. And we've been fortunate enough to have quite a few kids come through the program that are playing at the next level now and are very successful at the next level. We had some freshmen All-American last year from our team 2 years ago, and we're very proud of that. And I'm sure Coach Bedison is as well. Coach Hollage came on to our pro and took over our volleyball program last year, came in with a bunch of spit and vinegar, getting out there, mixing it up with the girls, playing with them, making it extremely fun for those young ladies to be a part of our volleyball program. He doesn't say it much, but he's a pretty good chef too. He's over there cooking up for the young ladies before the matches. I know that's one of their favorite things to do on game day is to sit around and be a little bit more difficult this year with the social distancing, but I'm sure he's going to continue that tradition with his players to create, as he says, his family. His family. When you're with part of the volleyball program, you are family. as well as with all the rest of our sports. But I know Coach Hollage, that's one of his mantras, is family. And if your child decides to play volleyball, you can be rest assured that they're going to be treated like a family member under his care and his tutelage with volleyball. He does a fantastic job. Who am I missing here? Am I missing anybody?
I think you got them all, Coach.
I think I got them all. Basically, in order for our athletic programs to be successful, we need participation. Right now, it's challenging. I know some people have hesitations in regards to COVID and what we are doing to make our facilities and our programs safe. Please rest assured, we're doing everything we possibly can. We're doing everything we possibly can to make sure that your children are having a safe environment to participate in athletics this year. I encourage you to allow them, but I understand as well that that's your decision as a parent, and I respect that. But we'd love to have your child participate in Wekiva athletics.
Yeah.
Thank you, Coach Biaggi. And I would echo that as well when it comes to participation, not just for our athletes, but also for our community. We are going into season 14, if you can believe it. Season 14, and I've been here for every single one of them, and certainly have not had anyone like this yet, and hopefully won't ever again. But it has been a 14-year journey toward building that community and building that sense of engagement with the south half of Apopka. And we had a lot of catching up to do because there is a lot of tradition in the Apopka community around school spirit and sports, and Wekiva has had to really work hard to rise to that level of engagement. And we are making a little progress every year. It is my goal through the Wekiva Sports Twitter feeds and the live streaming and everything else that we can do to help showcase, again, a product that our community can really be proud of. Not because of what I'm doing with the technology, but because of what our students and coaches are putting into it on the field, and then we just step in to try to make sure that it gets out there. So obviously this pandemic has created a bit of a speed bump when it comes to engagement, because the number of ways that you can engage with athletics is going to be very limited for a few months, and hopefully we'll get out of that as quickly as we possibly can. But in the meantime, please engage with us. If you are able, or if you are in a position where you are related to one of our athletes and are named as one of their attendees, we'd love to see you out at our events. If not, we would love to see you online. Engage with us on the live chat, engage with us on Twitter, engage with us on Facebook. I want to make sure everybody knows that when you like our posts on social media, when you comment on them, when you share them, that causes Facebook and Twitter to give us free publicity. Because the more engagement there is with our posts, the more those platforms will show them to other people, whether you follow us or not. And that is how we grow our audience. So please don't be shy about liking, sharing, commenting on, and using those social media channels, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or anything else, to continue to engage with our sports programs and follow along with our athletes and show your support for them. I do want to look one more time at our live chat panel before we close out for the night. A question was asked. Can football players go back to face after the season is over? Yes. Not immediately, but there is, I think, a 10-day. Is that right, Coach Biaggi?
It'll probably be 14
day. So a 14-day quarantine period at the end of the season, and then yes. So if you are a football player, you are not committing to do the launch ed from home or launch ed on campus option for the full school year. There will be an opportunity for you to return to the classroom if that is your wish. Football tryouts for JV, we don't have an answer for that yet. Again, please make sure that you are contacting Coach Bedison. Email him, get a meeting with him, talk about your experience and your vision for your participation, and make sure that you are on his radar so that you are the first to know when we have opportunities for freshman and JV competitions to get back underway, and so that you remain engaged with the program. But we will definitely post more information if we learn any about that. As someone asked to confirm, girls cross country practice starts tomorrow at 3. I believe that is right, Coach Carroll. Where do students report? I believe that until we come up with a better solution, you are asking them to meet outside the weight room. Is that correct?
First they gotta check in and do temperature check, and then they can meet me out by the tennis court.
Tennis courts. Okay. So, yes,
Yeah.
make sure you do your temperature check as required, and then the tennis courts is where cross country will meet. Obviously, you won't be staying there because the whole point of cross country is running around. But again, as Coach Biaggi said, that's a great opportunity, even if your passion lies with one of our winter or spring sports. It is a great way to do off-season conditioning and a great way to stay in shape. So, absolutely come out and participate. There's Coach Williams brought his yard sign with him there. So join the swim team. We hope that this has been helpful for you. Again, if you have further questions that you didn't think of, or if you're watching this is going to remain available for on-demand replay. So if you're watching this later on and you think of something and we're not able to respond to you in real time, email our coaches. Again, their contact information is posted on WekivaMustangs.com. We want to, and you can also tweet at us at Wekiva Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and you. We've had a question come in a couple of times. Coach Biaggi, are we getting close to announcing a cheerleading coach?
Yes, actually, I'll be meeting with the gentleman on Wednesday. We're trying to get him cleared, and then we'll move forward from there. So stay tuned. I'll keep Mr. Barchi in the loop in regards to making sure that we get all those announcements out for cheerleading via Twitter, Facebook, our webpage. But it's going to be coming shortly. It's going to look a little bit different in the fall, but hopefully we'll get things rolling by the time basketball comes around, as well as your competitive season. If you're fortunate enough to make that team, will be in the winter time. So we got some time in the back end there, but we're going to try to be creative in regards to the fall cheerleading and hopefully do some exciting things to get our crowds pumped up.
Great. So yes, thank you for that question. Yes, we are definitely getting close to being able to make an announcement on cheerleading coach. A question about being able to go to practice for football. Yes, you can continue to attend football practice. Again, if you're in one of those launch head cohorts or a launch head from home, yes, you can go to football practice. Again, email Coach Bedesom if you have any questions further about that are specific to your situation. And I think that is all of our questions from the YouTube live stream. Again, this is not your last opportunity to ask questions. You can email the coaches. We are at Wekiva Sports on both Facebook and Twitter, and also on YouTube. So you can tweet at us with questions or post them on our Facebook page. Coach Williams, we had a question about, do we have practice on Labor Day for swimming? That's a good question.
Yeah, I haven't decided that yet.
Okay, stay tuned.
Get with me tomorrow.
Stay tuned. Get with him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Question:
Email me.
Where are the tennis courts located? The tennis courts are located behind the stadium, so they are between the football stadium and the baseball stadium, back in that area of the complex behind Building 3. And again, like I said, we are at Wekiva Sports on Twitter and Facebook. Shoot us a comment or a tweet there, or email us, and we'll be glad to get those questions answered. So thank you, Coach Biaggi, Coach Williams, Coach McCall, Coach Vasquez, Coach Hollage, Coach Carroll, Coach Bedesom. Thank you to Dr. Drayton as well for joining us at the beginning of our call. I know she is an ardent supporter of athletics as well as all of our extracurricular programs, and we are really excited to working with her. Thank you to all of you who have joined us, whether you're watching us live or an on-demand replay. We look forward to seeing you, whether it's in person from at least 6 feet away, or whether it's through our live streams. We look forward to seeing with you and engaging with you all year. So thank you, and go Mustangs. Have a great night.
Hey, thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Have a good night, guys. Be